Welcome everybody to our second Digital Live of 2026. I'm Zach Yorman, your host today. I'm joined by Lale Walker, my co-host, and today we are joined by a familiar face to those of you who have seen Digital Lives before. This previous intern and field manager played a massive role in our social media last year. Everybody, welcome in Lilly Grinsteiner.
Whoa. Okay, thank you so much, Lily, for being here. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll get to it during our Q&A session. So, Lily, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and some of your professional experience?
Yeah, first off, thanks so much for having me here. It's really great to be back. It's funny being on the guest side of this instead of because I used to host these, so super fun. But yeah, my name is Lilly Grinsteiner. I'm a senior at the University of Michigan. My major is sociology, and I'm also getting a minor in entrepreneurship. I'll be graduating this spring in May. But outside of what my major is, I professionally freelance. Like all of my experience is actually in digital marketing and social media management and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I've been looking into pursuing. I'm currently actively, aggressively attacking the job market right now, getting those job applications in. But yeah, I've had about 3 years of experience in the marketing area, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully grabbing a post-grad position in that field.
That's super cool, and it's super clear that you're super ambitious about that field, as a lot of people are that are a lot of people are that are our age, but you are like really diving in. And I just want to let you know, Bud is in the chat. He is here.
Hi, Bud.
All right, let's jump into it. It's great to have you here. We're just going to ask you a few questions about the clinic and your post experience. And yeah, we'll just get to know you a little bit better. All the viewers will be able to get to know you a little bit better as well. So our first question. What was it like being an intern for your startup and also a field manager at the Digital Summer Clinic? Yeah. Also, when did you kind of realize that you wanted to be a field manager?
Yeah, I'll start with that second question first. When I was applying for the internship, I had no idea that the position for a field manager was even open. When I went through my interview with Bud, Nora, and some of the other mentors, the interview just went pretty well. I feel like I clicked with everybody. And afterwards, before I had even respected diversity of response at all, I was approached by Bud, and he gave me a proposal to be one of the field managers, and he kind of explained the role. And I thought, I'm a little nervous because I don't know what my position is going to be like in the clinic, and I don't know what being a field manager really entails, but I knew that I wanted as much experience as possible, so I accepted the offer. So I knew about 2 weeks before the internship started. But what was it like to be an intern while also being a field manager? I think it was definitely a little bit nerve-wracking at first because I didn't know how much time I was going to have to allocate to both. And it was two completely different positions. And, starting a new job is always a little nerve-wracking. But I really, really enjoyed it. It gave me a lot of experience on two sides of a similar industry. I got experience managing a team, working in a team with a very established organization that is the Digital Summer Clinic. So that was really fun to be able to integrate myself within the workflows that were there already. But then it was also really cool to be put into a startup. And my startup was WaveRF, and they were brand new. I don't think they had an intern before. So I was the one that was creating my own workflows. So it was very two different experiences, but I'm really glad that I was able to allocate 20 hours a week to both of those experiences because I developed myself so much professionally in both of those ways.
Thank you for sharing and telling a little bit about your story. I think you're a perfect example of what happens when you take the initiative upon yourself to actually go after what you want, because truly you never know what will happen when when you do things like that. So our next question for you is, what expectations did you have going into the Digital Summer Clinic, and what were some takeaways from your experience?
Yeah, I'm going to attack this from the intern perspective. I really didn't know what to expect before even being hired as a field manager. I knew that there was 48 interns, there was 24 companies, and there was going to be a pair of interns at each company. Because I didn't know what to expect, I definitely felt, like I said, like the nerves of that. But I knew that it was probably going to be pretty unstructured, which was something that I had never encountered before. And that's just from knowing that startups are generally pretty unstructured. But so going into it, I didn't really know what to expect, but I knew it was going to be a challenge getting to know what it was. But the takeaways were I could go into them for a long time. I really developed my professional development skills, communication. I did a lot of creative brainstorming with creating the entire marketing strategy for the couple months that I was there with Wave RF. So I got to attack that end to end from the ground up. It was a great experience. I did a lot of research. I learned a lot about what it takes to do those kinds of things. And I think that it really is preparing me more for, maybe when I get to go into an industry where that marketing strategy is still, it's already there, but because I've had the experience of building one from the ground up, I think I'll be able to find really great ways to add to it in my own way. So I think like those are some of my biggest takeaways, was just really learning how to add to something that may or may not already be developed, but just finding a way to make yourself valuable to whatever organization you're working for.
Yeah, that's like one of my favorite things about the clinic, because it felt like you always had like a little bit of like control of like to like kind of build into what you felt like was the best option. And of course you had to like kind of work things out with like your startup founder, but it was like, I don't know, you just had a lot of freedom and a lot of room to grow and also like kind of fail in some points, but like it wasn't massive fail. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just like, you're never really 100% sure what you're
for sure. Yeah. It was a great learning experience from that perspective. And because all of the interns were so vastly different in their skills, it was just great to see all of us grow in that way as well. But yeah, I always loved that I had a little bit of freedom, that I got to kind of attack the situations from my own point of view, kind of A/B testing, that kind of thing, trial and error. So I learned a lot for sure.
Yeah, and I think we all can relate to like the first couple weeks. We were all like, what's going on? We were trying to like feel out our companies a little bit, because none of us were really sure what we were getting into with them. But after a while, after maybe like you said, like 3 or 4 weeks, we were like, all right, we got the hang of it, and by that point it was like super rewarding to like see your plans and work and all that.
Definitely.
So yeah, our third question. So this is like following the clinic for you, because we know you're still like really involved with like the social media like field, and you're trying to jump into that further. So how have you used your connections and experience from the Digital Summer Clinic to find opportunities and just continue to build in your career?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, I'm actively attacking the job search right now, getting those post-grad job applications out. Good luck to everybody else who's doing that, because it's stressful. So right off the bat, of course, I get to put it on my resume, but the thing about the Digital Summer Clinic is that you are actively workshopping how to best tailor your experiences from the internship to put on your resume. And I think that was probably one of the most lucrative things that came out of the clinic as well, was that aspect. So I have had multiple resume workshops outside of the clinic, and they always praise the section that comes from the clinic, because they think that it's just great how I'm utilizing performance indicators and really just great results-based evidence of what I got done in the clinic. So I think that is one way that I've used the clinic's like helpfulness, like in my career right now. But another way is that because the clinic is affiliated with Ann Arbor Spark, it actually correlates with some of my classes that I'm taking. I'm taking some entrepreneurship classes through the University of Michigan because I'm an entrepreneurship minor. And so a lot of my professors and a lot of the people that are guest speakers and they come in, they also have an affiliation or have some knowledge of Ann Arbor Spark, and thus the Digital Summer Clinic. So whenever there's a guest speaker and, I want to have a coffee chat with them or something and just learn a little bit more about their industry that they're in, because a lot of times it does apply to what I'm getting into. I love to drop that I was an intern with the Digital Summer Clinic. I was a field manager. I worked directly under Bud Gibson, connected with Ann Arbor Spark. And of course, they have so much love for that organization because Ann Arbor Spark does help a lot of startups in the area. So I think that I've gotten some really great coffee chats out of just my experience at the digital summer clinic. Love to talk about it with people. But otherwise, it's just given me a lot of great communication skills and professional development skills as well. So I think I've become very, very prepared for any and all interviews that I might have come up, because I just love to talk about this interview, or excuse me, I love to talk about the internship experience. And, when there's so much that happens in the internship, it's just easy to talk about it in a good way in those interviews. So I'm really excited to have more interviews and talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's another thing that's super cool to me is just like the entire community within Ann Arbor Spark and entrepreneurs and really anybody in the industry, like marketing or anything that is relative to the digital summer clinic. Everybody seems like connected in some way, which is really cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. On the flip side as well, though, I was doing social media for the clinic, doing the marketing for the clinic as well as creating the marketing strategy for my startup. I feel like I utilize that now in my current job. I am currently a social media and campus marketing coordinator for Mishgrad's photography, focusing on graduation photos. And I do a lot of their short form content strategy. I'm on the ground doing their field marketing. I think I've learned a lot about how to approach people, how to talk to people, and propose these kind of collaborations from the experience that I had at the clinic. And I've also just brought in the marketing strategy or the social media strategy that I've learned via trial and error with the clinic into the kind of work that I do now. And it's been working pretty good. So I actually do have the clinic to thank for that as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just me and you and even Lale, we're all going into like social media in our careers. And I think we have a lot to thank the Digital Summer Clinic for like a lot of skills with that.
Definitely.
And like preparing us with like whether it be the content calendar on Notion and setting all that up with like the Digital Summer Clinic, but also with our internships. Like I know for me, I was managing LinkedIn's for mine, and then Lale was managing her like Instagram and creating like graphics and stuff. So I think all of that kind of it opens up such like cool experiences and growth opportunities for all of us.
And it was cool to like do social media work for my internship, because now that like I'm a field manager, I was able to kind of, like you said, Lily, like take some things I learned from the internship over the summer and like try and apply them to the social media for the clinic. So yeah, it's like all really cool taking the transferable skills and seeing how they can apply in different areas.
Yeah, super cool. So that was our questions to you, and now we're going to turn it over to the chat for some Q&A questions. So Bud is in the chat. I'm just going to first show this. He said that you were a godsend. So
thank you, Bud. Thank
Bud
you, Bud.
Really appreciates your work from over the summer.
Bud actually incorporated that exact statement into a letter recommendation that he gave me, and now it's on my LinkedIn. So if you want to go check out my LinkedIn and see the recommendation that he gave me, you can find that in there as well.
Super amazing. All right, so our first question from Bud is, Lily, we know you love New York. Is your plan to stay in the area or move to one of the coasts?
I would love to make my way over to the East Coast post-grad. I know that I have to take some things into consideration, like how much that entry-level position is actually going to pay me versus, what are the living costs like? I have to take that into consideration. I also have to get the job out there. I would love to go there. I've applied to the majority of my post-grad positions in the East Coast area. I think New York or Boston or even DC would be really, really fun. Right now, I do not have a right now I do not have a plan set in place because I'm still actively applying and interviewing for jobs. But my goal is to go somewhere that I can afford to live, that has a great job that I'm going to enjoy doing, and just explore another part of the United States. So honestly, I'm really open to anywhere, but the East Coast is definitely one of my favorite spots.
Yeah, that's super cool. You're really ambitious for that too. And then I think the last thing I really need to show here is Bud really appreciates you and Nora helping the Digital Summer Clinic just reach like a next level, whether that be on like the planning side for the all hands meetings or the social media. I think you guys both did like a lot, so he appreciates that. So.
Well, we appreciate Bud. Bud was a godsend of his own. to me and Nora, me and Nora, we come from different areas. We did different things. We have different ways of thinking, but with Bud's guidance, we were able to come together and like find the best way to work together. And now we're super good friends. We hang out outside of professional aspects. So I think me and Nora worked really, really well together to take it to the next level, but without Bud's guidance, and without Bud telling us, when we weren't taking it to the next level, I think that we wouldn't have been able to do that. So one thing I really appreciate Bud for is just being really super honest, being a great mentor, and helping us reach that next level. So
yeah, I love Bud's honesty.
He's honest. He's honest. That's a good quality. It helps you grow.
Yeah, that's how you get things done.
Yep,
So before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in to our digital lives today. I see we have 1 Facebook like, so thank you for that. And thank you for everybody on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook.
And thank you so much, Lilly, for joining us tonight. It was great hearing your insights. Everyone, we hope you tune in next Monday, the 28th at 5:30 p.m. for our next digital live. Bye.